In this quick video, I am going to give you a tour of the AI Visibility Toolkit. This toolkit gives you access to specialized reports and metrics for analysis, brand management, and monitoring of your brand's visibility in AI platforms. To access the AI Visibility Toolkit, you need to go to SEMrush, and from here, click on AI Visibility. Now let's walk through the different reports that you see here. The first one is called Visibility Overview. This report gives you a benchmark of any brand's overall presence in AI search with the AI visibility score. Where your brands appear in AI-generated answers, you can spot competitor activity and identify opportunities for growth. Competitor research is the next tab that you'll see here. Here you can see how AI platforms position your competitors compared to your brand. You can use this report to uncover visibility gaps and identify the prompts and topics where others are getting cited, but you are not. Next up, prompt research. In prompt research, you can discover and also prioritize search topics to target. Think of it as keyword research, but for AI. You can see topic level volume, difficulty, and user intent to find new opportunities. Brand performance. Using this report, you can understand how AI platforms perceive your brand against your competitors. This suite of reports analyzes your share of voice, your brand sentiment, and the key narratives that are driving your reputation to provide AI-generated strategic recommendations. Site audit is an evolving tool that allows you to measure your site's health score when it comes to its visibility in AI engines. Prompt tracking allows you to monitor your visibility for specific high-value prompts on platforms like Google AI Mode and ChatGPT. You can track your presence day to day to measure the results for your optimizations and act quickly on any sudden drops. And finally, the Content Creation tab takes you to the Content Toolkit. This allows you to optimize your content for AI search engines. Woof! Was that a fun tour? I'm really looking forward to getting into all of these tools in this course. See you in the next video. Hi there. In this video, I am going to show you how you can measure AI visibility for your brand and that of your competitors using SEMrush. First, some setup steps. It's really important that before we get into the AI Visibility Toolkit, we create what's called an SEO project. You can do this in the SEMrush home. Here you can see we have a lot of different folders. You might have a lot less or even more than me in your account. But what you want to do is first you want to create a folder for the domain that you are looking to use for this exercise and to figure out AI visibility. So in this case, we're going to use Notion as an example. I'm going to enter here Notion. If you already have a folder, this is not a step that you need to take right now. But if you don't, please take a moment to create a folder, which in turn will create what is called an SEO project. Here you can see that we have already a measure for AI visibility for this domain, which is great. I'll show you how to see that in a different, more ample view in a moment. But before we move over to do that, I would spend some time also making sure that you set up site health and also your visibility, otherwise known as position tracking. I won't do that right now because those are more setup steps and I want to get straight into the AI Visibility Toolkit. So this is a toolkit that allows you to measure your visibility in LLMs or AI platforms from ChatGPT to Perplexity to Claude. So let's start by measuring our visibility with the AI and in the AI analysis section, more specifically the visibility overview. I'm going to type in notion.com as my example. And you can see here that I already get a measure for AI visibility of 73 over 100. So AI visibility is measured by SEMrush in terms of how often this brand is being mentioned compared to the median number of mentions for competitors. And we'll get to competitors in a moment. So their score is 73. If you scroll up, note that you can change the country databases. We are continuing to expand databases. It feels like by the day over here. But here you can sort of look at your visibility for Notion in the UK. It's much lower than in the US. And then in Canada, it's 61, somewhere in between. You can also look at specific platforms. The default selection here is for all AI platforms, but if you're mostly interested, let's say in AI overviews, you can also take a look at that individually and record that information for your brand. Now, once you get a good understanding of your own brand's visibility in various AI platforms, then it's time to take a look at your competitors. So, as soon as you click on competitor research here, SEMrush will auto select some competitors of Notion. I'm going to remove some of them here because they seem not so great. So, it's probably better to say Monday is a competitor, Asana. I'm going to remove YouTube and this one as well. So now I'm just looking at Notion, Monday, and Asana, and I'm going to click on Analyze. And so here you can see that we can track the AI visibility for these three different sort of project management systems, with Asana leading the pack in terms of AI visibility. And same as with the visibility overview report, you can sort by country, and you can also select specific platforms. And this list, same as the country list, continues to expand. So in this report, it's important to note that not only can you see AI visibility, but you can also take a look at audience. So how many people are looking at the mentions of your brand in LLMs. Again, here it looks like Asana is leading the pack, followed by Notion, and sort of trailing behind is Monday. And then mentions is just how often your brand is being mentioned in AI responses. So we're looking at data for September. So this is just showing the same trend as the other KPIs here, with Asana leading the way, followed by Notion, and Monday quite far behind from all of those. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to get a first glance understanding of AI visibility for your brand and that of your competitors. I'll see you in the next one. In this video, I'm going to show you how to understand share of voice and also brand sentiment using the AI Visibility Toolkit. So we're going to navigate to the brand performance section in the AI Visibility Toolkit. And here I am going to enter my domain. In this case, it's notion.com. And I will click Analyze. We can look at information worldwide, US, UK, and more granularly across countries and cities and regions. I'm going to click on Worldwide at the moment in English and click on Get Started. Okay, so now we're looking at worldwide data for Notion and its set of competitors, Asana, Slack, ClickUp. And we're looking at this information for Google AI mode, but you can also choose other LLMs to look at data for this. So in terms of key metrics that we want to track and understand and take a look at, the first one that we see right here is share of voice. And this chart just shows you share of voice versus sentiment. So Notion is this little bubble right here. It has a 5.6% share of voice, but it has the highest sentiment score of 74.8, compared to Slack, for example, that has a 12% share of voice, but it has a sentiment score of 38%, much lower. If you want to dig into sentiment more specifically for the brand that you're analyzing, you can scroll down and see here what percentage is favorable versus general. You can also take a look at share of voice broken down by by the entire competitive set. You can go deeper into each of these KPIs by looking at either the perception report or the narrative drivers. I'm going to go into the perception report. I like this report as well because it shows perception by platform for each of the competitors. So here in this chart, we're looking at Google AI mode, but we can also select ChatGPT, Gemini, and also Perplexity, and see how the perception for each of these tools is different by platform. So as you can see here, Notion has the strongest brand perception in Gemini. Overall, the strongest brand perception of the competitive set. And Asana here, for example, has a really low brand perception in ChatGPT. So this is all information that can really help you understand how each of these LLMs is perceiving your brand and also the brand of your competitors. You can also track favorable sentiment over time for yourself and your competitive set. Slack here suffered some terrible sentiment drop. wonder what that was. It would be cool to kind of investigate. And what I find probably the most interesting in this report is SEMrush recommends the actual drivers of sentiment and then areas for improvement. So, for example, steep learning curve, setup effort, risk of disorganization without governance is a huge problem with Notion. So, if I was looking at the sentiment driver as someone working at Notion, I could choose to, for example, invest in better onboarding or better processes to help people get started more quickly and more easily with the product. And you have just other things in here that are driving negative sentiment for your brand, in this case, Notion in LLMs. In addition to that, I definitely encourage you to explore the different strategic opportunities. These are based on LLM's output about your brand, and they're quite interesting. The recommendations are interesting and strategic. So good to also read and probably share with your leadership team. So these reports are like incredibly rich and full of data. One thing that you can do is also export them to a PDF. And in doing this, you could even email them to your leadership team. And this is one way that you can keep everyone apprised of how your brand is performing in time in the various LLMs or AI platforms. That was our tour for how to look at both share of voice and brand perception using both the brand performance and perception reports. I will see you in the next one. Hi, welcome back. Let's get into some prompts. Just a reminder, before we do some prompt tracking with the AI Visibility Toolkit, it's really important that you set up position tracking for your brand. So you can do that in the home folder, in the home section, find the folder for your brand. In this case, it's Notion that we're looking at. And just make sure that under this visibility tab here, you have set up position tracking. Okay, so I'm going to navigate over to the AI Visibility Toolkit. And in this lesson, I'm going to show you 3 different ways that you can conduct prompt research with SEMrush. The first thing we're going to do is to find and monitor domains that your brand is already showing up for. So we're going to start by going over to the visibility overview, and you can enter your domain. In this case, it's going to be Notion. Once you click on check visibility, you'll see an overview of your brand's visibility. And when you scroll down on this page, you will see your performing topics. And topics are just simply a collection of prompts organized in terms of higher level topics. There's just, I guess, no better way to say it. So for these, if you wanted to see the individual prompts, you can click on this little caret and you can see the different prompts that make up this topics. This topic, for example, is driving an estimated number of search queries or AI volume of 1.9K. And these are the prompts that make that topic up. So if you click here on full response, you can see the full response for this particular prompt. What are the differences between guests and members in Notion? And this, of course, is referencing 2 different brands here, as you can see, both Notion and Reddit. On the very right-hand side, you can see the sources that this LLM, in this case ChatGPT, is using to develop this particular answer. Okay, so that is one way that you can find prompts. These are prompts that you are already ranking for. And if you find prompts in here or just full topics that you want to make sure that you keep track of on an ongoing basis, you can monitor those prompts by either clicking on monitor at the topic level. This will just include all the prompts into one prompt tracking project, or you can click on monitor at the individual prompt level down here with this little magnifying glass. So I'm going to click on all of these prompts, and then you'll reach this window. You'll notice that there are 2 different LLMs where you can track prompts right now, ChatGPT and AI mode. I am going to remove one of them. Let's say I'm only interested in tracking AI mode. This now included all the prompts that were in part of that topic, and I am over my limit. So I'm going to remove some of these until I can get to a place where I can actually track these. Wonderful. And then you can just click on start tracking. The next way that you can find prompts that are interesting and you can track for your brand is to look at prompts that your competitors are showing up for, but you are not. So you can go in this same visibility overview, navigate over to topic opportunities. This is basically the equivalent of like keyword gap analysis, but it's now a prompt gap analysis. So you can take a look at different prompts that your competitors are showing up for and you are not. So in this case, for example, CRM and project management tools comparison, this sounds quite important for Notion. So in this case, let's, for example, here, CRM and project management tools comparisons for Google AI overviews might be a prompt that you want to track. Your brand is currently not showing up. It looks like Monday, Zoho, Salesforce, Jira, Asana, HubSpot, ClickUp, and Trello are all showing up in this particular answer for AI overviews. So you can track that prompt by clicking on monitor, making sure here that you have selected the correct SEO project. So in this case, it's Notion, and you will click on start tracking. And now I'm going to show you a third way that you can identify prompts, and that's by going to this tool here called prompt research. In this tool, you can enter a topic and it will suggest prompts for you. So for Trello, or in this case, Notion, anything having to do with project management is interesting. So using the suggestions is likely to yield better results. So I recommend clicking on one of these. So I will click here and you'll notice that it'll already recommend a lot of different prompts that I could use and be tracking. There's actually 215 different pages full of prompts. So same as before, you can either explore the actual full response and see the brands that are being mentioned, the sources, like how your brand is like showing up more specifically. And if you want to track that, then you can click on monitor. Same thing, you are going to select your project. Select where you want to track your prompts. So in this case, this is ChatGPT, and click on start tracking. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed exploring 3 different ways that you can conduct prompt research using SEMrush's AI Visibility Toolkit. See you in the next one. Hi, welcome back. In this video, we are going to see how we can identify sources that are citing our competitors but are not citing us. So to do this, we're going to go to the AI Visibility Toolkit and into competitor research. Once more, we're going to use Notion as an example, typing Notion in here. And based on our previous competitor analysis, we noticed that Asana is the competitor that's doing the best in terms of AI visibility. So we're going to keep the competitive analysis to just 2 or just 1 competitor here and then run the analysis. When we scroll down, you might be familiar with this already, but you'll see in here all the topics that Notion has more mentions for than Asana. And you can also look at this view at the prompt level, which is a lot more granular. So let's stick to the topics and let's go to missing to see which topics Notion is not showing up for that Asana is. And we're just going to find a topic that is interesting. So let's take concept mapping and visualization tools that has an AI volume of 76.3K. And we're going to go into the prompts that fall under this topic, and we'll see there's one. What are the best tools for designing concept maps online? When we click on the full response, we will see all the different brands that are showing up that, as you can see here, include Asana, but are not including our brand. So one of the things that then you can do in order to increase your chances of showing up for this particular topic is to take a look at the sources and see what sources this LLM, in this case ChatGPT, is using to come up with this answer. So let's take a look at some of these. Creately.com has an article for best concept map maker. So if we have a PR team or even a link building team that is reaching out to different webmasters and trying to integrate our brand into various articles, this would be an opportunity to reach out to the author of this article and potentially get our brand to show up here, thus ultimately increasing our chances of our brand, Notion, showing up in the AI response for the topic that we're looking at. Back to SEMrush, you can see that the list of sources for this answer is quite long. So, in the same way that in traditional SEO, we do backlink analysis and we create backlinks by also actively reaching out to website managers and webmasters that have content that is relevant to the products and services that we sell. This is a very similar thing, except that we're not necessarily building backlinks here. We are just looking for our brand to be mentioned in these sources. So this is how you can investigate various sources. You can track them and then be able to reach out to them and increase your chances of showing up in LLM responses. Another thing that I'll show you here is that you can also click on different sources tab, and this will give you a very high level overview of the sources that are driving brand mentions for both Notion and Asana. And so down here, you can take a look specifically at the different prompts that are citing articles or pages in Monday.com, and you can dig deeper into those. But the top sources for citations that are ultimately leading to Asana and both Notion being mentioned in LLM responses are Monday.com, YouTube, Google, Canva, Wikipedia, Zapier, Otter AI, Trello, Asana, and Etsy. If you're going to prioritize what organizations you're going to reach out to and ways that you could impact your brand mentions in LLMs, like this is a great place to start. Finally, I'll also show you that in addition to looking at places where your brand is missing in terms of either sources or topics and prompts, you can also look at weaknesses. So topics and prompts where your brand is weak and your competitor is strong, and also sources where your competitor is strong and you, as a brand, in this case Notion, are weak. Okay, so that is our tutorial for how to find opportunities for third-party brand mentions using SEMrush's AI Visibility Toolkit. See you in the next one. Welcome back. In this walkthrough, I am going to show you how you can use SEMrush to figure out how you can optimize your site for LLMs. So here we are in our homepage. I am going to navigate to the AI Visibility Toolkit and then all the way down to the Site Audit tab. So once we get to Site Audit, we will see a very long list of projects. We have a lot of projects set up here at SEMrush. Your list probably looks a lot shorter. In this case, I'm not going to be using Notion. I'm going to be using our demo project because it has a lot more data. And as you set up position tracking and track a project for a long time, you'll also have a lot of data accumulated. So this project, which we use for demos, is for a company called Traffic Think Tank. Traffic Think Tank is owned by SEMrush, and it is a wonderful SEO community that I have been a part of myself and highly recommend. The first thing that you can see here is that we have not just a site health, which is a standard metric that we use to measure this health of our site when it comes to SEO, but we've now released an AI search health. So at the time this video is being shot, this is still in beta format. Currently, it's taking into consideration AI search checks and whether AI search bots are being blocked. But we're continuing to refine the score. At the moment, Traffic Think Tank has a 75% AI search health score. Okay, so what I'm most interested in, though, is what are the issues that trafficthinktank.com could be having on their site that could be limiting LLM's ability to mention this site in their answers. So when you come in here, you'll see that these are all the issues that this site has. This list is not short, but it's also not the longest I've ever seen. But if you click on AI search, you'll see the issues that are specifically related to AI search. Now, you can either address these issues. Some of these are technical. If you're a technical person, you can just address them yourself. If not, we always give you the opportunity to either send them to Trello or send them to Zapier. And maybe in that way, you can send them to a developer or whoever would manage more technical optimizations with your site. I want to show you a little level deeper into content optimization. So when we click on here, you'll notice that there are 81 different pages that have failures or errors when it comes to content in the Traffic Think Tank website. So when you click on this caret, you'll see what type of errors we're talking about. So poor heading hierarchy over here is an error. Um, Down here, same thing, actually. It seems like we're just not doing a great job with that in general. Across the board, feels like that's the main content error that this website has. So for some of these, you have the option of optimizing with AI. So you're both like optimizing for AI and with AI, which is quite meta. Okay, so this will take you into a content toolkit, which basically will create and generate content that is AI SEO optimized. This will take a moment to load, so I'll give it a second here. But just note that also on the right-hand side here, you have the ability to toggle between AI SEO, which is where we are right now, and also SEO. So it's the case that most SEO best practices, if not all of them, are important and relevant to AI SEO. So incorporating the different keywords and like getting improvement ideas using the content toolkit can also help you for AI SEO as well as SEO. Okay. So you'll see that we have an updated article here. And in addition, we have some improvement suggestions of showing authorship and summarizing first and then expanding. And so these are all things that we can take into consideration and things that we can use to optimize the content on our site for both AI SEO and also SEO. Just one quick thing that you should know is that these tools are available at the very bottom here of the AI Visibility Toolkit, which are very similar or sort of related to the dashboard in the content toolkit. So it's kind of a neat integration between the two different toolkits. Okay, so that was our tour of how to identify issues in your site that could be preventing you from shining in LLM responses. See you in the next one.